With more for your ears only, I'm Melissa Exelberth.
I'm David Alpern with this quote from the news. Systemic change will only occur when companies take action together. That was a statement from one of several investor, religious, and labor groups urging major American companies like Walmart and Sears to join about 40 European companies in an accord that supports tougher new safety and health laws for factories in Bangladesh. Now this.
New York, 1922. The tempo of the city had changed sharply. The buildings were higher. The parties were bigger. The morals were looser and the liquor was cheaper. The restlessness approached hysteria.
Shall we?
Who is this Gatsby?
Do you know him?
Oh yes, we know Gatsby, Jay Gatsby, from novelist F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby and the Gatsbys of numerous film versions. What we just heard was from the trailer of the latest version, Baz Luhrmann's, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Maybe not so great, but only one option for you in this year's first crop of summer cinema.
From Iron Man 3, whose take at the global box office just passed the $1 billion mark, though it may be the weakest of the trilogy so far, to the latest Star Trek prequel, and from a journey across the Pacific on a balsa wood raft in Kon-Tiki to a journey towards terrorism for a Pakistani in America and back home after 9/11 in The Reluctant Fundamentalist. There's a lot to consider, and to do that for your ears only, we're joined again by Boston Globe critic Ty Burr. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
Let's start with Luhrmann's Gatsby, yet another film of Fitzgerald's literary novel. This one stars DiCaprio, as we said, as Jay Gatsby, and Luhrmann's trademark grab bag of flash and dash. How great all in all?
It is a mixed bag. There are some real flaws. I think it is certainly the most stylistically ambitious Gatsby so far, and I think Luhrmann is actually, in a weird way, he's the appropriate man for the job, in that what you have to do with this story is get across the flash and the bang of the roaring 20s, the jazz age. And stylistically, he does that more than anybody else who's tried to put this on film.
Purists of the literary work have been scandalized by Luhrmann's decision to score the party scenes to songs by another Jay, hip-hop's Jay-Z. Not exactly the music of the Roaring Twenties. Is it artistic vision or crass commercial appeal to young viewers and music downloaders?
I think the purists have got their nose out of joint on this one. They wouldn't complain if they went to see, a classic opera updated to the modern era. But if you do it with a classic literature in a movie, you can't do it. Baz Luhrmann's point, and I think it's well taken, even if you don't agree with it, is that classic jazz music of the era does not scandalize us, as good as it is. And in fact, it's been completely accepted by modern viewers as good music and appropriate to the period. He wanted something that would push people's buttons and really get across how just out of control and scandalous this scene seemed to people of the time. And the fact that a lot of people are saying, oh, poo-poo, you can't do that, I think it actually proves his point. I think the music's pretty good on its own, and it certainly works well, I think, in context of the party scenes, which are completely over the top and should be.
What about DiCaprio?
I think he's great. I think he's actually the best Gatsby that has been in the movies so far, because much more than Robert Redford, he lets you see the insecure guy, the insecure Jay Gats behind the supremely confident Jay Gatsby.
On to Star Trek Into Darkness, a sequel to 2009's hugely successful reboot of the Star Trek franchise, helmed by the same director, J.J. Abrams. Does it live up to that film?
It almost does. I went into that first Star Trek, 4 years ago, thinking, prove it. That I'm kind of done with this franchise. And Abrams was able to, through smart casting and good screenwriting and just good blockbuster filmmaking, get me completely on board the Enterprise again. And then the thrill of that first movie was being reunited or reintroduced to these characters played by different actors, but in a way that really kept the spirit. That thrill is not here in the second one, because we've already met them, and we're kind of back to business as usual. That said, it is a really good, fun summer blockbuster, and it shows how Abrams is just able to work within these cliches and tropes of action movie blockbuster, filmmaking, and make it matter and make it feel really like you're really there and feel really alive.
But
when you compare it to something like Iron Man 3, I mean, it's no comparison.
But you found something unsettling about the film that had nothing to do with the film itself, really. What was that?
Well, and this is also true of Iron Man 3, in that both of the films include scenes of, early on, terrorist bombings of, in America or in Star Trek Into Darkness's case of London, where, especially in the Star Trek movie, where Captain Kirk is searching the video footage to find the perpetrator. It has these unsettling echoes of what we in Boston have just been through and as a nation, and it just makes me realize how our popular culture has trouble confronting a lot of this stuff, but they don't have a problem sort of remulching it into popular entertainment. And it's a very odd sensation to be watching these movies and seeing how they take these topical notions and put them into popular entertainment.
Well, let's turn to The Reluctant Fundamentalist, based on the acclaimed 2007 novel by Mohsin Hamid, which also arrives at this somewhat uncomfortable time, especially in Boston after the marathon bombings. What's the plot? Pardon the expression.
The plot is about a Pakistani man who's gone to Princeton and has worked on Wall Street and has achieved the American dream, and then 9/11 happens, and he begins to be pushed out of the American dream and to think twice, and he ends up moving away from America, and everybody assumes things about him which are not necessarily to be assumed. The novel it's based on, it takes the form of a monologue. It's very thoughtful. It makes you think about the way everybody profiles everybody else based on the way they look or seem. The movie, which is directed by Mira Nair, who's a very good director, adds this additional plot of a sort of thriller spy terrorist thing going on the outside. It doesn't really benefit the movie.
And the cast, which includes an American quite famous for being an anti-terrorist?
Oh, Kiefer Sutherland. Well, he's actually got a small role as the lead character's Wall Street boss, and it has nothing really to do with Jack Bauer. But Riz Ahmed in the lead, he's really terrific. He's a young and up-and-coming actor, and he really gets across the conflicts and contradictions and nuances of this man who remains peaceful yet is struggling with this country that is struggling with him.
Boston Globe film critic Ty Burr is a frequent guest on this program and author of Gods Like Us on movie Stardom and Modern Fame from Pantheon.
Quote from the news, he's the Marilyn Monroe of soccer. That was Stefan Szymanski, author of Soccernomics, on international soccer star David Beckham after he announced last week he would retire at age 38 from a career that combined extraordinary athletic skill, image management, and product marketing with a popular good guy image.
Next, The Lady and the Lions, for your ears only.